Ken, thank you for joining me this morning.
Thank you, Michael. Glad to be with you. I appreciate all that you're trying to do for our business.
Well, thank you. And I wanted to speak with you and actually interview for this segment just because you've been emailing me ever since this coronavirus thing really has been starting to build up critical mass. Rather than talking about what you can't do and almost approaching things from a position of fear, you've been getting very creative. You've been strategizing. You've been implementing new marketing strategies. Every single day you've been doing something that's been proactive. So I guess help me through, why did you respond in that way, right off the bat?
Well, I think that the first thing you have to start with is to realize that what we're really facing is an economic disaster, not a health disaster. If you look at the latest numbers from the CDC, they reflect that in the current flu season, roughly 52 million people have been infected by the flu in the United States, and 62,000, as many as 62,000, may have died. When you look at those numbers compared to the numbers that are being thrown around now, the flu has been the health disaster of the United States this year, and it's getting no coverage. Our economy was functioning quite well with that degree of illness in our society. I speak as someone who is the poster child for this illness. Not only my age, but also I have asthma. I've had a history of having flu and pneumonia. 2 years ago, I dropped 17 pounds in 10 days, which I think would dwarf most of the reports we're hearing about this disease. I'm here talking with you today as someone who will be 70 this summer and isn't slowing down. And so what I think we need to do is look at this calmly and with the facts and not run off the cliff as so many people are with the hysteria. When you look at the facts are that this is a great economy that we had and potentially one that will bounce back. And it depends on calm leadership from business leaders, particularly lawyers, who stand up and say, let's get back to work. That's what we have been doing. That's what we will continue to do with my business.
Wonderful. Yes. And I would say, when we hear about the alternative, it's fear, panic, do nothing. So let's talk about some of the opportunities that have been created in a situation like this.
Well, I think there's lots of opportunities. I kind of summarize it as ABC to make it simple. We need to affirm, first of all, our relationship with our existing customers. We need to affirm our relationship with our vendors. We need to affirm our relationship with our employees to give them a calm and a sense of direction that we know what we're doing. We also need to take this time to build. And that means build our networks. Those networks would include people who are sitting at home and not working like we are. Try to build not only among lawyers networks by sending a variety of pieces of information to them, but also with professionals. I'm a divorce lawyer. We're going to implement about a 3 or 4 part, maybe a 5-part emailing plan to a list of 300 mental health professionals to try to become the authority in our community for mental health related issues that arise and result potentially in divorce or other family law problems. We're also trying to build skill sets with our attorneys and help change the culture in a positive direction. We also need to convert. We need to convert the mindset of people who want to be doom and gloom and instead look at this as an opportunity, to seize this opportunity to thrive instead of looking around to survive. We are not laying off any employees. We are looking for opportunities to grow our business, and I think we will. One person said to me recently, we're looking at a slingshot. There's a pent-up demand for business, particularly in my field, divorce. We were at the peak season. That pent-up demand has not gone away. It's been put on the shelf for 2 months or so. We'll see how long this goes. And when it happens, we expect to see a significant surge in business. So we are converting our systems and our marketing and our processes to try to prime the pump for that and prepare our systems to be ready to move forward quickly.
That's great. How's your team responded during this time?
Well, I think they're doing quite well. they wouldn't be working here if they had a different attitude. We always look and live by a basic principle: initiate, never react. And so we're trying to come up with initiatives of innovative ways to do business. For example, my firm may have been the first one in this city of Charleston to start implementing settlement conferences via Zoom. We just completed one in this office yesterday. No one was present but my attorney who was doing the settlement conference, but we got it done. And there's a variety of other ways that we're trying to innovate. Our marketing certainly is different. One of the things that we found is you can't swim against a raging river. So we're shifting our marketing focus to realize that the only thing people are interested in reading right now, even though they're tired of reading about it, is something related to coronavirus. So we're posting articles at each of our various social outlets as well as our website, and through email, we're marketing coronavirus as it applies to family law.
Yeah, and it's extremely relevant as such. So I'm curious, I've heard from a lot of business leaders that are being proactive, that they're making their businesses better, and they're going to come out, obviously, a better business when all this passes. But what are some of the things that you have implemented since this started that you think will actually carry on even afterwards?
Well, one of the things that is important is to reassess your maybe tired website that you haven't looked at in a while. And so we have done that. We have implemented multiple things there. For example, we now have a sticky, which is something that's pretty rare in a laptop environment. We have a sticky that relates directly to the coronavirus. We've also gone back to that old reliable of an ebook and to collect information, that we're pursuing the people who collect for our ebook about how coronavirus relates to divorce. And we're developing a host of other things. One of the things that we're going back to is writing contemporary articles. So we're going to be newsjacking the coronavirus with a whole sequence of articles that deal with family law as it relates to the virus. That sort of newsjacking will establish us as authorities in our marketplace and potentially lead secondarily, when this crisis passes from us, to us becoming the authority that news people come to. Just yesterday, I did a 35-minute interview for a newspaper that has a fairly large distribution, focusing on exactly that topic. How is the coronavirus impacting family law?
Yeah, and it sounds like, just with all the things you described, it's content, very much focused on brand authority, credibility, building trust. It's almost all these things that, because people are consuming content, they're probably consuming more of it now than they've had prior to this. So it's just, in a way, it's giving the people what they want.
Indeed, and one of the things that we've encountered that's a problem is the restrictions that Google and Facebook is placing on content, whether it be in an ad or actual, is the most common, but to a certain extent, even in regular content that's published. Google, for example, has a policy right now, which makes no sense to me, that they filter and bump out any attempt to put a Google ad up that mentions coronavirus or any variant of that term. We're trying to find a way to work around that to get up ads that would relate to that topic. Facebook, we're seeing some similar sorts of problems. The volume of impressions that people are seeing with Facebook, of course, has shot through the roof. We're not sure, because we haven't had enough time to test it with data, whether that's actually going to develop business or it's just people sitting at home bored. One thing that I have seen today that's encouraging, though, as you're aware, I aggressively post articles on LinkedIn. Typically, they're written by other people, but the idea is to build the brand authority in my community. I have about 20,000 LinkedIn connections, almost all of whom are in my town of about 800,000 people. So I'm fairly heavily invested in LinkedIn. And typically, there are articles that deal with one or more family law topics, but they're written not from a lawyer perspective, but from the perspective of a human being, which makes them much more appealing to start with. We saw those article views crash about 3 weeks ago. And I shifted then into a post articles that relate to coronavirus. We saw some of that audience come back. We think LinkedIn's audience has gone over to Facebook in part. But today I tried, and Fridays tend to be a weekday for LinkedIn for viewership. I tried a more traditional article, and kaboom, the views are back on LinkedIn, much higher than I would have expected on Friday. That tells me that there may be some Facebook fatigue occurring and that the opportunity may still be on LinkedIn.
So let me ask you, I guess, as we close out, because you're someone who's no stranger to adversity. Over the years, I mean, you've seen, pretty much everything and in various challenges and various barriers. What would be some of the mistakes that you think firm owners could be making right now?
Reacting. My dad grew up in the middle of nowhere in a cowboy in Nevada. He drove cattle to market on horseback. He spent his summers out in the middle of a forest and rangeland by himself with his dog and a mule, and brought the cows back to in the fall to drive to market with his dad. From him, then he went and he was in the nose of a bomber for 75 missions over Europe and survived, and many other things in his life. And whenever I would be challenged by a situation and want to feel sorry for myself, my dad would always come back with a simple cowboy sentence. And it's a sentence that I think resonates with this challenge we have today. So, what are you going to do about it? We have nobody else to look to but ourselves. And if we sit and feel sorry for ourselves, we will be swallowed up by the craziness that is pervading our society. If instead we look at that and try to look at what people are interested in and how we can serve that need, instead of looking at a survival mentality, we need to look at a thriving mentality. And that's what we're doing right now. We're looking at our typical customer and trying to develop different marketing schemes now and in the future that will appeal to that audience. At the same time, internally, we're looking at different ways to make our operations even more high-tech and more efficient.
Wonderful. So you believe fully that you guys will come out of this a better business, a better team, and overall the future is very bright, even through this year. Because I know a lot of people, it's amazing to me so early writing off this year, whereas I'm the crazy one that's saying, well, what if it were your best year?
I think there's that possibility in our unique realm because there's two theories of what's going to happen with family law, and really not a third one. Theory number one is that the divorce rates in family law cases are going to nosedive, as they have in the United States with prior recessions. The other theory is the Chinese theory that they're going to skyrocket, as apparently they have in China. I'm inclined to believe in the skyrocket theory for this reason. This is going to be a short-term economic crisis, I think. It's going to be brutal. The latest estimate is 10 million people already unemployed. But it's going to be a 2-month brutality instead of an 18-month to 3-year brutality. This paycheck loan program that SBA is launching today gives every law firm and most small businesses an opportunity to continue to stay in business if they accept those funds and if they have planned prudently before this happened. I'm hopeful that we will see by the fall that much of the economy has come back. And unfortunately for many people in this cycle that we're in right now, they will have discovered they want a divorce. And whether that surge happens in June or September, I think we're going to see it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Ken. I truly appreciate you taking the time to share your insights. And by the way, for people who don't know that are watching this, I believe you were the one that had predicted the last presidential election because you were watching it very closely. You were looking at the data, which was amazing because not many people saw it going the way that it did.
Thank you. It's kind of you to remember. I think I missed it by 5 electoral votes, and I also forecast that this would be another one of those elections. I think we've had 5 where the winner won in the electoral college but lost in the popular vote, and the popular vote turnout was almost exactly what I had forecast. So I was lucky on that one. Who knows if I will be this year.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, sir. I truly appreciate this.
Thank you for asking me, Michael. Best of luck with everything.
Wonderful. Thanks, Ken.